Hello sports fans, Ralph Luck here, and what I'm going to do today is give you a brief packing up and leaving video. So I've been at the rest area overnight, or 2 nights. Shh, don't tell anybody, you're only supposed to be here for 24 hours at most rest areas. But I stayed for 2 nights. So this is not a full packing up. I didn't put my exterior propane tank out. I didn't set up the front rug and the doormat and multiple chairs. But this is a night or two somewhere, and I'm going to show you things that I need to have done. So the first thing is, here's my bedroom with the slide out. Ninja's still asleep, so unfortunately she's just waking up. She's going to run and hide under the driver's seat as soon as we get this process going. But the first thing when I bring the slide out in is I need to make sure that there's nothing on the nightstand. I need to make sure my fan is taken off so it doesn't get dragged along, and my Balder power source battery. So I want to take those and get those out of the way. Ninja's already run under the driver's seat. She knows the routine. Got a couple of the blinds open to give me a little sun light. It is about 53 degrees here today in Ozona, Texas, as I'm getting ready to head towards San Antonio. So I do have a little bit of warmer weather gear on. Once I get moving, I'm sure it's going to heat up here. But so to allow the slide in to come in, I've got to actually start the engine. And funny thing with this E450 Class C Forest River Sunseeker is you also have to make sure the parking brake's on. That was one I found out a while ago. So let's go start her up. All right, now that it's started up, I've got a simple toggle switch. It says in, out. And I was using the out. Depending on where you're staying and how long you've been there, if there's any trees or foliage outside, you want to make sure the top of that slide out doesn't have branches and debris and things on top of it. Again, I had nothing in the way, so I wasn't concerned about that, but that is a thought. You don't want to have some trees that the branches broke and they're on top of this and get caught up. So this came all the way in, it stops, I'm good. Now, let's go into the next couple of things that we're going to check here after first turning off the engine. So I want to make sure that I have nothing over here on the dining room table that's going to slide off. You see I've put laptop candles, some different things like that over here, so they're not going to be flopping around. I am going to move this from the front seat. I've already done it a little bit, where Ninja stays. So I have the front seat clear, and she likes to come up there every now and then, a bit on the litter box, so I put that rug up there. I've got an air freshener spray that I turned down and make sure there's nothing up here that's going to come falling off. Ice maker, which currently wasn't working, makes me upset. I've already put some of this stuff down just to show you. This magnet light up here needs to come down because it will fall. You want to make sure fridge and freezer doors are closed, and you want to make sure your water is turned off, because if the sink handle get something falling against it, you don't want your water running the whole time you're driving down the road. Next thing I'm going to do is, if possible, take out the trash. In this case, I will here. I've cleared the kitchen countertop of most anything that might fall. Yeah, putting it down into the sink, like the soap cup and different things. I'm going to go outside, throw the one chair into my car where I keep it. Again, take out the trash. Next thing you want to do, and again, this depends on how long you've stayed. At the very least, you want to do a walk around, make sure your trailer lights are working, the blinkers, flashers, all that. Make sure the tires appear or physically check their tire pressure. Want to come over here and check the chains, tightness of that. And the big thing for me is I want to check the tightness of these guys here, the straps. They've been known to come loose while traveling after some bumping around. And I already checked that one. I'd prefer the tires to be straight, but every time I move them straight during this long trip, they go immediately back to that. So again, you want to check the lighting back here, brake lights, blinkers, whatnot. If you pulled over for a night, you may not need to do the full check, but these are things to consider. And I'm going to stay back here because it's really windy, and I'm going to let you know the next couple things I'll look at. So the next couple things I'm going to want to do is do a walk around real quick on the RV, make sure there's no flat tires, nobody's come and put a bottle under the tires or anything like that that's going to damage the vehicle, you know. And this is just a quick 10-second walk around you can do. If you've been here for several days, a week or two, like out in the forest, you're going to want to go up and pop your hood and check all the fluids, which I did a few days ago. Your oil, transmission, if you have DEF, then you're going to want to do that, as well as windshield wiper fluid and your radiator overflow, which will let you know how the fluid is there as well. If I had put my awning out, I would make sure my awning's back up. And then from there, I've got the front doors unlocked and ready to hop in. If need be, as you're departing, which I'm going to do today but put it in a different video, I'm going to dump my tanks, flush the tanks, and also top off on fresh water. Once I'm on the road later, I'll be looking to top off my propane, because my goal is now I want to reset and get set for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Of course, I'm heading to San Antonio now. We're going to have a couple of days stop, but then we're going to be on the road headed up north to South Carolina soon. So today's my day. I want to get everything zeroed and ready for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So inside my back rear compartment, just right above the emptying tank down there where the exit is, I've got my white potable water hoses. I've got my handy dandy water gloves, and inside here I've got hose attachments and things to dump the tanks. It's all contained out of the way for other things, so it doesn't get other things contaminated. Sorry for the wind and the noise. So lighting up my dump station here, and you can see inside that square is where that lid lifts up, and I'm going to be hooking right there with the hose that's in that square back bumper. I'll show you in a moment. Any water with a blue valve is potable water. And I also know it's potable water because it says so right there. So I'm going to fill my tank with that one. There's another one there that if I wanted at the same time, I could be flushing the tank. And I'll show you once I have everything set up. So the first thing I'm doing before I touch any of this black tank stuff is getting on some gloves. Of course, even with gloves, when you're all done, you're going to want to wash your hands. Then, pulling out the black tank hose. And we're going to get out this guy here. And today, we'll be using hose to flush it, and this doodad to go onto the end here, down into the drain, so that it's clear, so you can see when all the yucky stuff is gone and it's draining out clear water. This one doesn't have any threads, so it's just going to simply drop down in there. Flexible hose. Ugh. No leaking. And I'm going to start the drain process. Sorry if I'm crooked. Now, you've got a black tank and a gray tank in most RVs. If you don't have the capability to flush, you want to drain your black tank first, then the gray tank, because the gray tank is more like dish soap, shower, water, things like that, that after the black tank is dumped, you could use that more cleaner water to help clean out the last bit of your hose. In my case, I have a hookup in water source to flush the black tank. So I'm going to do it backwards. And the reason being is, if I open up the gray tank first, and this has happened to me before, if there's a break in the hose or a bad connection, that gray water is going to alert me immediately versus the very icky black water. So in my case, I'm doing the gray water first, telling me I've got no leaks. Then I'm going to go up to the black tank. Then I'm going to connect this black hose around the other side, which I'll show you in a moment. So this is the rear passenger side, and that's my black tank drain tank. Majority of RVs have them both on the side. I don't mind it on this side, and I'll show you why in a moment, where that hose goes up to. It goes right to here where the flush is. Now, a lot of RVs will have the flush and the black tank drain on the driver's side next to the gray tank. So don't get confused. This is just the way mine's set up. So under there I've got the discharge valve, which I'm going to pull. Now, where this hooks up, had a little caution sign. Do not use the tank flush valves unless the full weight termination valve is in the open position. I was like, full weight termination valve? Basically what that caution is telling you is that if you use the tank flush valve here, I don't know what they call a valve, and you start flowing water from here to flush that black tank, when your black tank is not been pulled open, that water is going to go into your toilet bowl and then start to immediately overflow inside the RV if you don't have that black tank valve pulled. So it's kind of an important thing. So now I'm going to go turn on the water so that it's flushing the black tank now that the valve's open. And I think y'all know how to turn on water. Okay, folks. So I think you can get an idea of why this elbow at the drain port is clear. Nothing but nice clear water coming out. and that's the water on that passenger side through this black hose. Black hose reminds me it's for the black tank, not for drinking. And I got nothing but clean water coming out. That means everything's nice and cleaned out. So I'm going to turn off that water, put all this away, close the valves. Very important you remember to close the valves on both sides of my case. And then we're going to fill up some fresh water. Okay, here's how I'm going to fill my fresh water. No, not with my bottle of water. I've got a water filter straight from Walmart. It's a new one. Comes with that flexible hose at the end. Then I've got a white garden hose basically that I'm going to hook up to that blue valve spigot right to the driver's side in the middle, which is your potable water entry. This is going to fill my tanks. Now, one thing I didn't show you in detail is after the water filter, I've got this handy dandy spigot. I love this because I've already got the hose on. And look at that. Now once this is full, sorry, it's still morning. I need coffee. Once this is full, I merely have to turn the spigot off. The water doesn't pour out. Instead of having to rush to the end of the garden hose to the spigot there and turn that off. And there you go. Now you're filling your tanks with fresh water, and we'll be ready to hit the road in a moment once it's full. After filling your freshwater tanks a quarter full, per these instructions, I fill up with a little drinking water freshener. You can get these at camping stores or Walmart. It says it keeps stored water fresh tasting and odor free. And you're supposed to put one ounce of this freshener for every 20 gallons tank capacity. So I don't even have a 40-gallon tank, so I'm going to put less than 2 ounces. And that'll do it. Then fill up the tank with the water the rest of the way.